Inside Maximum Security, the untold truth of America's prison gangs. Don't miss the next case. Subscribe, like, and share your thoughts below. The sound of alarms echoed through the cold concrete halls of Pelican Bay State Prison. Red lights flashed against the walls as officers shouted, "Lockdown! Everyone down now!" Blood pooled across the gray floor of Cell Block D, where two rival gang members had just turned a routine yard break into a full-blown war zone. One man lay motionless, his white uniform stained crimson. The other, with tattoos crawling up his neck, whispered something into the ear of another inmate before being tackled by guards. That whisper would change everything inside the prison walls. Because inside Pelican Bay, nothing ever happens by accident. Every fight, every hit, every deal has a reason. And the man behind that reason was known only as Ghost. But no one had seen Ghost in years. They said he was buried deep in solitary confinement, locked away in the security housing unit, where sunlight never touched the walls, and men spoke through the pipes like ghosts, whispering through steel. So how could he still be giving orders? How could he still control what happened in the yard? The guards didn't know it yet. But the message passed during that bloody yard fight wasn't just a threat. It was a command. A command that would shake the whole prison system. 3 days earlier, the prison seemed calm. New inmates had just arrived, and among them was a young man named Jake Miller. 19 years old, first-time offender, college dropout. He had gotten caught up in a robbery gone wrong, one stupid night that landed him a 20-year sentence. Jake thought prison would break him, but he had no idea what kind of world he had just entered. From the moment he stepped into the block, eyes followed him. Tattoos marked the walls and the skin of every man inside, each symbol telling a story of loyalty and blood. A tall inmate named Rico leaned against the bars, grinning. "You new fish better learn quick," he said. "This ain't school, boy. This is the University of Pain." Jake tried to keep his head down, but curiosity got the better of him. He started noticing strange things. Folded pieces of paper slipped under doors, taps echoing through the plumbing, guards pretending not to notice. One night, he heard the pipes whisper. 3 knocks. Pause. 2 more. It wasn't random. It was code. Jake didn't know it yet, but that sound was his first warning, because in Pelican Bay, even silence speaks. And by the next morning, someone would end up dead. The next morning, the air inside Pelican Bay felt heavy, like the walls themselves were holding their breath. Jake woke to the sound of keys jangling and guards yelling, "Count time!" But something was off. 2 cells down, the door stayed shut. No response. When the guards finally opened it, everyone saw the body. An inmate named Cruz lay on his bunk, eyes wide open, a thin cord wrapped around his neck. No noise, no fight, just gone. Whispers spread fast through the block. "Cruz snitched," someone muttered. "Ghost sent the word." Jake froze when he heard that name again. Ghost. The same name he'd overheard during the fight 3 days ago. But Ghost was supposed to be locked away in solitary, hundreds of miles from here. How could he reach inside this block? That night, Jake couldn't sleep. He listened to the pipes again. Tap, 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 tap. It was the same rhythm. He started hearing voices through the vents, low and calm, like someone giving orders. "Tomorrow, lunch hall. Make it look random." Jake's heart raced. He pressed his ear closer to the vent, trying to hear more, but a deep voice from the next cell whispered, "You better stop listening, college boy. Ears get you killed in here." It was Rico. The next day in the cafeteria, tension filled the air. Everyone sat where their gang told them to sit, each table marked by invisible borders. The white inmates stayed on one side, the black gangs on another, and the Latinos kept to themselves. Jake sat alone, tray untouched, pretending not to notice how quiet it had gotten. Then, suddenly, chaos. A tray slammed. A knife flashed. Someone screamed. A man dropped to the floor, clutching his stomach as blood poured through his fingers. Guards rushed in, sirens blared again, and the entire room erupted into shouting and fists. Jake dove under a table, heart pounding. From where he hid, he saw Rico standing still, watching the fight, not joining it. His lips moved as if he was counting seconds. Then he whispered, "On time." Jake realized this wasn't random. None of it was. Later that night, after the chaos settled, Jake was pulled from his cell. "You, Miller!" a guard barked. "Warden wants to see you." Jake didn't understand. He'd done nothing wrong. But as the cell door closed behind him and the cold hallway swallowed his footsteps, he heard it again. The tapping in the pipes. Tap, 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 tap. And this time, it was coming from inside the warden's office. The walk to the warden's office felt longer than usual. Jake's heart pounded with every echoing footstep. The guards didn't say a word. They just led him through the gray halls, past locked doors and cameras that never blinked. When the last door shut behind him, Jake froze. The office was dimly lit, and sitting across the desk wasn't the warden. It was an old man with thin white hair and cold, unreadable eyes. "Sit down, Jake," the man said quietly. His voice was calm, too calm for someone inside Pelican Bay. "Do you know why you're here?" Jake shook his head. I didn't do anything." The man smiled slightly. "I know. You're not in trouble. In fact, you've been chosen." "Chosen for what?" Jake asked, confused. The man leaned forward. "You've been hearing the pipes, haven't you? You've been listening." Jab torso. Ake's stomach twisted. How did he know that? The man continued. "The message system. The code. It's older than you think. You see, every guard, every inmate, every accident that happens here is part of something bigger. Something that started long before you arrived." Jake's mind raced. "You mean the gangs?" The man nodded slowly. "Not just gangs. A council. Ghost runs it from isolation, but I run it from the top." Jake's eyes widened. "You're the warden," the man finished, smiling faintly. "The name's Warden Cray, but around here they call me Ghost." The room went silent. Jake couldn't believe it. The man everyone thought was locked in solitary was sitting right here, running everything. The fights, the murders, the messages. They weren't random chaos. They were control. Organized control. Cray stood and walked to the window overlooking the yard. "You see, Jake, this prison isn't just a cage. It's a system. We keep the balance. Too much peace, the gangs get restless. Too much violence, the press gets curious. My job is to keep the world believing we're in charge, when in truth, we let it all happen." Jake's hands trembled. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because you're smart. You listen. You don't belong to anyone. Yet." Cray turned to him, eyes sharp. "Every generation needs a new messenger. I'm not getting younger. You'll learn the codes, the rules, the power, or you'll disappear like the rest who refused." Jake's voice cracked. "And if I say no?" Cray's grin faded. "Then tomorrow your name gets added to the pipes." Suddenly there was a loud bang. A guard burst through the door shouting, "Sir, riot in Block D. They're saying Ghost gave the order." Cray's eyes turned dark. He whispered, "Impossible," before the glass behind him shattered from a blast below. Smoke filled the hallway. Alarms screamed again. Jake ducked under the desk as chaos erupted outside. But as he crawled toward the door, he heard the pipes again, louder than ever. Tap, 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 tap. Someone was sending a new message. And this time, it was using his name.